Welcome everyone to Overwatch Contenders Fall Series Korea. That's right, we are here for Korea, not APAC. Of course, continuing into day number 4. My name's G Clef. With me, we have Unfrozen Unknown. How are you doing? It's our first time doing Korea, and we've had first 3 days of action already, continuing with day number 4.
Yeah, it's been, I think this is, I guess I would say this is a little bit cliche, but this is a dream come true for me. I've been involved in Contenders Korea only as a translator and as a producer here to finally cast with not only just casting, but also with UG Clef. This is one of, I guess, my childhood dreams come true because I've been growing up with Overwatch.
Oh yes, and also the other duos of casters doing a fantastic job covering Korea all the time. And we are here finally just getting a dip of what Korea is all about. But there are amazing talents in the region, and
exactly
there are way too many great Genji players, and we're going to be highlighting a lot of Genji plays as we have done for the last 3 days. But there's full of talent for Korea. At least no wonder there's somewhat of a different tournament format for Korean season only.
Exactly. So, kind of elaborating on what Jacob just said, we have a lot of talent, not just rookie talent from the Korean scene, but we also have some returning talent from the Overwatch League scene, excuse me. And also a lot of this for this year specifically, a lot of the Contenders teams have been participating in the Overwatch League Opens and the Knockouts. So these teams, these players have been gaining that kind of experience, just clashing, going against the top of the best of the best of the players. And this is going to be one of the most competitive seasons of Overwatch Contenders Korea we'll be ever seeing. And also to elaborate on the Genji, definitely we'll be seeing a lot of Genji players because the meta is shifting from the previous Orisa Junker Queen to, yes, the Orisa is still surviving in the meta, but also the Zarya, and the Zarya meta definitely involves a lot of Genji, and I think the Genji will be pivotal in whatever success these teams may want to have.
Certainly, as we will talk more about Genji, Zarya, Orisa, and all that in the game. Before we go into the matches, though, let's take a look at the overview. We do have 5 from the knockouts, 5 from WDG Open Tournament, and they're separated by groups. Group A and B will have round robin basically, and top 3 from each group will advance to the playoffs. So that's the reason why we have this. I guess today is part of week number 1, and then week number 2 with 4 more days are going to come up. So a lot of days for Korea actually.
Yeah, so we still don't know which teams will be locked in for the single elimination tournament stage. However, right now at least teams will be having already played 1 or 2 matches. We just have a slight idea of who has like an okay or good read on the meta so far, and which teams are still struggling to get a hold of what's good these days.
Yes, and this what you see on the screen will be the week 3 after all the group matches. Then we'll go into the knockouts, and we'll have second, third going against each other. And the first place will actually start from the next match, as you have seen. So this is the standing after the 3 days of action, because 5 teams in each group basically means the maximum you can get is 4-0 or 0-4. So every number, every win, every loss, that counts. And that's also the reason why we also have plus-minus differentials.
Yeah, so one surprising thing I want to point out here is that Panthera, who I've been mentioning before, was playing in the Overwatch League Opens and Knockouts. This is a team that was not expected to be on the bottom of the table, and yes, they only played 2 matches, but if you look at their differentials, it's very concerning for them. And to be honest, Panthera at this current stage, they have to be their goal is not to top their group. It's about surviving, making that last 3rd place ticket to the tournament stage.
So far, it looks real tough unless they come out big time in the upcoming matches, which technically they're actually not playing today, so it'll be next week. So Panthera will have some time to regroup and rethink about their strategy of what's happening, because the meta seems like it was supposed to be much more stable coming into this week, and then all of a sudden, all these teams are playing some different things all over the place. So we are not quite sure still what exactly where the meta will be settling upcoming week. But first match, we do have 2 teams, Reviver versus XERO. Only 1 match from Group A today.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit more about the meta as the players play the match. But let's take a quick look at these 2 teams. Revival, it was previously known as T1 Academy, has already played a match. I think they were pretty. Are pretty competitive on their last match, despite losing. And XERO, they played yesterday, if not mistaken, and wow, what a performance for them! Because I want to highlight the DPS duo from XERO right now. Of course, you will see the starting 5 right after this right now, very briefly. But Kilo and Jeu, Kilo. What more do you need to say? He was the hit scanner for the San Francisco Shock, and Jeu, his Genji yesterday was one of the reasons why this meta actually works for him.
Yeah, but okay, let's keep it at Revival for now, though. Yeah, the man in the dark is always going to be the one putting out all the damage, going for the kill. That's what we learned from Detective Conan back in the days. But this roster seems to be doing okay. Revival actually has surprisingly a huge roster compared to XERO, but big roster doesn't always come out on top.
Yeah, surprisingly, we don't see like there's 4 tanks and 3 DPSs. We haven't seen any tank other than Ruler play so far, and also Yam hasn't featured in Revival. I think this roster is going to be Revival's strongest roster by far, and we'll see if there's going to be any substitutions. But here is XERO that we've been talking about, Kilo, who I've been talking about so much, formerly of the San Francisco Shock. His sojourn has been very, very impressive, and we saw, and when this man is on any sort of hit scan, maybe even the Cassidy or the Soldier, he needs to be the other team needs to be very, very careful. Jeu has been showing very impressive performances on both the Genji and the Tracer attack. Of course, he has a lot of history. He's been with Talon Esports.
Yeah, well, so Kilo did show us some action of Sombra, just for a brief moment too. And it was quite interesting as I actually spilled my ice cream yesterday watching Jeu play on that DPS.
That's definitely, I
did not regret too much.
That portrays very accurately of how Jeu played yesterday, especially I remember in Esperanza where Jeu was almost pulling a 2v4, and then yes, they were still winning like heavily in that match, however, in that map. But like Jeu's performance is something that you probably should want to be looking out for today. And the first map today is going to be Busan, predetermined by comp ops. However, it's still going to be very interesting to see whether each team. I think both teams played Busan previously, if I'm not mistaken. I'm actually mistaken.
100%, yeah, because they played one.
Revival played Busan, and XERO played Antarctic Peninsula.
Okay. So XERO and Revival, they only had one game played so far, one match. So it'll be very crucial if XERO, if they want to catch up to Poker Face, and keep that near first place spot, which it's all about top 3 getting into the playoffs. So I think they certainly need to win. Revival, if they want to remain and get into that top 3. This will be a tough match, but still grabbing as many maps plus a win will be really nice on their standings.
Yeah, XERO definitely would want to contest that top spot of the group with Poker Face, because 2 wins out of 4 games is a very good start. And of course, you don't want to afford to lose games, but if you have a 2-0 standings after week 1, you definitely feel good about your chances of qualifying. And for Revival, starting 1-1, starting week 2 on 1-1 and starting week 2 on 0-2 are very, very different start lines. And so even if you lose, even if Revival loses today, keeping an acceptable map differential is very, very important in getting that 3rd place.
Yes, it sure is. And we do see Ruler, that Zarya, who we're talking about it for broadcast, as we'll see some neutral fights happening in the middle as Genji. Relying. Actually going for 4 good kills early on. No other cover.
Chasing Jeu down.
Oh man, he was isolated by that Swift Strike.
He was left behind, and this means a numbers advantage for the side of Revival. Yes, XERO does have a little bit of positional advantage, but with 2 members down, actually, Revival looks like they're going to cap the point first.
Even the Ruler does fall for Revival, still much more members actually falling. Windy surprisingly picking up a lot more with pretty low HP, keeping that up.
Okay, wait a second.
Let's hold on as Kilo is still alive and he'll back up now.
Yeah, so Windy does fall, but I think Revival. Okay, I thought Revival would have enough pressure to keep the point, but however, The DPS duo from XERO got the kills, so they managed to retake the point.
Yeah, plus the early fall of Ruler basically meant no one else could actually stay on the point for Revival. So here XERO striking back, flip points, 10 to 15. Not too bad early game.
So it's really interesting to see how different styles clash here, because Revival is going with his Zarya club while XERO is going with the Orisa. XERO feels better when they have a little bit of space, when they can because they outrange Revival, and the task for Revival is to send Windy forward and use those Zarya barriers to keep Windy alive while Windy does the damage.
Yep, and so far it has been working really well, and that's another reason why Jehu on that Torbjorn was not able to do so much. And in terms of losing members and positions, that's the reason why Revival can actually poke and strike back and remain a lot more space in this middle center.
At this stage of the game right now, Revival should feel pretty good because they're a little bit behind, but they're already going to equalize, and they have the ults remaining, and they are actually ahead in ultimates, and they are in a position to do the early aggression. There is that Dragon Blade.
But well countered by his captive son and few others from XERO.
Windy is alive, but he didn't manage to make any kills, so that's already 3 ults expended by the side of Revival now.
Yeah, that's right. So XERO spending a good amount of time just defending and surviving.
They need to make this worth, because after the XERO is going to have 2 ultimates to 2 DPS ultimates. No, but kill falls, and Revival will be able to clean up this fight.
Yeah, that was somewhat of a miscommunication. Actually, better step down from Revival. That was the moment for the overclock to line that up with the window.
Yeah, so Kilo falling there was really crucial for the side of Revival, because like I said, G-Cliff, Revival was using a lot of their ults. They used 4 ultimates in total, and XERO was approaching a lot of their ultimates. Oh no, Hyun dying here means that it's going to be delayed even further, and at 88%, can they even touch?
Yeah, Hopback here doing a lot of work. We've been seeing that kill feed, and that soldier not from XERO, not on Killa, it was actually from Revival happening a lot more. Well, we see the other side
finally getting that overclock, but no, but it's too late because
I think the Lucio Boop just kept it, was not able to come in time, which is very unlikely for XERO to actually start on Busan.
Very unfortunate for XERO, because they knew it was their ultimate turn. They had the ultimates and Revival didn't, so it should have been a fight that XERO should have been winning. However, because Kilo fell that crucial fight where Kilo fell when they had that overclock, and also when Hyun fell, so that stagger kill bought Revival enough time, and it was enough because they had enough percentage on the point.
Kind of a weird start for XERO to lose the first, and the Revival actually, I was about to say, when you were already mentioning about those ult usage, and the 3 wasn't really powerful, it didn't really came into use a lot of the time, but XERO just had the perfect response. Back here now.
Windy falling here, that's what XERO should be very wanting for.
Focusing a lot more on Genji, I think that is for sure what you want to have against Revival today.
Remember, XERO is a composition that wants to fight at range. Revival is the composition that wants to close in and wants to have Windy in XERO's face, have that barrier from Ruler, and Windy do the damage, and Ruler gets that energy. And XERO doesn't want that to happen. They want to fight at range. They want casualties to happen on range so that they can fight. By the time Revival's at your face, they're at a ult advantage or a numbers advantage.
So after getting Windy down early on, yeah, XERO just taking massive points, and also Dew changing into Echo for this section of the map. Seems like a very nice move, along with Winston now, who's going to be having easier time against Genji.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about Echo right now is that Revival, on the side of Revival, only Hopback Sojourn maybe, but not even the Sojourn. Sojourn is a little bit kind of half capable of dealing with the Echo, because yes, the Railgun has that one hit potential, but the main primary fire is more like it's more like a projectile rather than a hit scan, so it's really hard to track the Echo. So it's up to Jinsung's Baptiste to take care of the Echo. So I think Echo might be a really great choice here.
We'll see if that lands enough, and there's Genji again caught by Jehu, and that'll be worse. good news for Revival yesterday. They tried to do some extra work. That was basically Ruler getting one now. Okay, after twice and more, Revival realizing that, okay, Genji's not just working against the Echo and the better combo with Winston. Now, Tracer comes back for Windy.
Interesting read from both teams because XERO has used this composition. Yesterday, actually, in Esperanza, the Winston. So what they want to do is that they're not going to use the Genji, but they want to do almost like a traditional dive to keep the backline of Revival very busy. And Revival pretty much is replacing. So the Tracer does the same job with the Genji, but has an organic form of survival with the recall.
So Nano Winston does get the barrier off of Revival. Still, back again, doing a lot of work. Okay, attack is there, but both of the DPS already fell for XERO. So point turned over to Revival now. And who's going to win the sustain slightly more point towards Revival.
Okay, so XERO finally feels that the pressure from Windy's Tracer is significant enough to match that Tracer with their own Tracer. So Jiu's job is going to be keeping Windy at bay. So keeping Windy's Tracer off of their own team. And I think XERO should be very confident that Kilo should be out shooting Hopeback. So all Jiu has to do is keep Windy away from their team.
And all you have to do is trust. Not really catching too much as the barrier was already up for XERO. Now Kilo doing so much more work. Both of the DPS down for Revival. That this is not even a contest. Already a done fight.
This is going to sting a lot for the side of Revival here because not only did they lose the fight, yes, they stalled the fight long enough to trigger overtime. However, they used a Graviton Surge, a very important ult in Revival's fight plans. And yes, with the Primal Rage coming from XERO, I think it's going to be XERO's turn.
Yeah, I think that was indeed very big ult used already when they had 99% and no other extra sources. Here's attack with the rage, but even that in the corner. Yeah, even with that, Winston, you eventually does go. Yeah, you do go down when you are focused so much in the corner. You think you're invincible, but not exactly.
I think that the damage reduction from the nano boost gave attack the false sense of safety because of that damage reduction. However, that application matrix.
Oh, that pulse bomb! Onto Overback. Okay, very important that XERO continues to win overtime, and it is 99. Attack comes back with a Doofus now. And that should be it. Revival not being able to grab number one with a 99. It is XERO coming back in Busan.
Wow, I'm really impressed at how XERO is adapting to what Revival is doing because clearly what they started with, they kind of struggled on Revival's Zarya comp and also the Genji as well. And after that, they struggled against the Tracer, against Windy's Tracer, which was pretty impressive. However, they managed to make wholesale swaps to the Winston composition, and it worked. And also, the last-minute Doofus comp may seem like it's going to be a desperation swap for the touch. However, it actually worked. The Doofus was very effective on the last few fights. So this XERO's communication and their composition swaps is actually really impressive, especially on the Contenders level, because you don't see these kind of comp swaps that much as on the Contenders level.
Yeah, I like the fact that Revival is willing to change a lot, as now coming into the third, you see both Sigmas, which is basically somewhat special on this section only. And the big difference, I guess, will be the Tracer versus the Widow of Kilo. You actually make it work. You have some distance, some shots going in. I'm finding no kills yet.
So XERO is actually pretty much doing, yes, they're playing a different composition, but they're starting with the same concept that they started the other maps with. Because if you look at their composition, they want to fight at range. They have basically 5 pokes. Widow, yes, the Soldier 76 may be a little bit good on close range.
Yeah, the Rocket's pretty good.
Yeah, but basically this comp is a composition that you want that outranges Revival's composition and wants to wants to take down Revival before they get to close up on you. And right now, this is working quite well.
Yep. And there's also, you have to imagine that all the damage is going to go in, but once it doesn't, once you can't connect that many shots, then Revival is going to have all that range on you.
Nice captive son, Jinsung cleaning out the almost
the newest DPS in game. Jinsung on the front line. That's exactly what you want. If you're lacking some DPS, always a good hero to pick it up.
So this is going to be an interesting fight right now because both teams are almost even on the ultimate sides. Yes, Roller does have the upper hand. Revival can use this very small window where they have ultimate Fiesta falls. Yeah. So that means XERO will be able to charge those ultimates. And now it's XERO's turn because they not only do they have the numbers advantage, they have the ultimates.
Captain Sun just had to pull it, and they're basically pulling everything. Saying, okay, we turn it back right here, right now, and we should win the third map here's attack. And it's only just the Visor and Baptiste left for XERO.
Yes, it's only those two left for XERO, but I think these are very key ultimates that can turn the tides of the fight. Especially, maybe if Revival, maybe if Hofak also uses a tactical Visor and outshoots Jewu, maybe they can win this fight. But since the point is in XERO's control right now, they have the positional advantage. It has to be Revival that has to come to them.
Early Matrix from Fiesta.
Yes, low health bars all around the bar. Kilo very low. Kilo falls. Jewu pops that tactical Visor. Needs to make it worth.
Jewu turn it around, looking against one.
Shun takes down Jinsung. Hyun actually takes down a lot of the members of Revival, and it looks like this fight's going to be in the favor of XERO.
That was dangerous with Killa going down. It was eventually 4v5 at the moment. Okay, Hofak actually switching back to Widow of his own. So a lot of both the teams matching the number. OKJ was just having 3 farming from the side.
Oh dear, this is going to be final fight territory for the side of Revival, and they only have the captive son. Windy definitely needs to live here. Hofak falls, but Windy is the one that needs to touch, so Windy cannot afford to fall.
There's a recall.
The recall down. Can they have another touch?
Lucio tries to come in, but no, not even close. And there'll be extra time added. And that's 100. XERO does end up winning Busan.
Wow, so I think a really interesting clash of two different styles right now. XERO, despite using several compositions, they used the Winston comp, they used the Orisa comp, and they used the Sigma comp. But I think the basic concept of what XERO wants to do is that they want to outrange. I've said this multiple times, but they want to outrange Revival, and they have belief that they're mechanically superior to Revival, and they want to, I guess, thin Revival's numbers before they even Revival can put up a fight. And Revival, yes, they did show a few bright spots, but right now it looks like the game is going. They're falling. Well, not falling for XERO's trap, but they're falling to XERO's intentions right now.
Yeah, that was the name of the game basically. Revival, I do believe, and I do see. Some initial game plan of Genji Zarya did work for the first map, but after seeing those ult usage right after, I was showing some question marks. Eventually, right after that, XERO just said, okay, we dropped the map, but still after that, we still feel very comfortable with what we had before, so they just went on their own path, and eventually it did work out. So that was map number 1, guys, but it is first to 3, so we'll have a lot more maps coming up next. But before that, we'll take a very short break. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back everyone to Overwatch Contenders Fall Series Korea with Unknown and G-Clef. We are heading into our map number 2 and don't want to spoil things yet, but it seems like...
What? I want to spoil things.
Okay, no, you can't. We can't spoil it.
Okay.
Guys. We can't
I'll
spoil it.
be
We'll have the image popping up soon enough as XERO seems to be coming back online, warmed up. Maybe they had a false start in the very first, but still right after that, they just eventually said, okay, we'll just kind of keep what we want to have, but also respond just enough so it's not too much, too less, so we can all keep our basic mechanics in game.
Yeah, I think XERO definitely has the confidence that they are mechanically better, and so yes, they did kind of, like you said, G-Clef and Mecha Base, they did kind of struggle a little bit on the Genji and also the Zarya from Revival, but in the end, they managed to use a composition where they can, if they just manage to keep their distance, they can just win, like Revival easily, and that's what they did. And next map is going to be Midtown, so we're going to see the pizzas again. We've been talking about this in Apex so much, G-Clef. The pigeons and the pizzas.
Well, that actually eventually made me get 2 pizzas last week. so all those pizza, all of you pizza lovers, I don't know if it's making you get extra pizza or not, but it certainly worked on me. So we'll see if we'll see more pigeons or not. But going on to this map, though, it does seem like because we'll have a lot more pokes on Midtown now, I think it'll eventually favor XERO, but I'm sure because it was a loser's pick.
So
Revival must have something up here on this map.
Well, to be honest, I'm really I have my doubts about this map selection right now because both teams played Midtown yesterday. And Revival lost in Midtown. Yes, of course, they lost 3 maps and they won 1. But XERO, they won Midtown in style. So I'm not really sure if Revival really wanted to get Midtown. But just looking at the bright side, I think Revival also did pretty well, despite losing in Midtown. So maybe they have that confidence, maybe they had that preparation going. And it looks like they're using the same composition that they were both were playing yesterday, but no, Yam is playing for the first time in Contenders Korea this season, and bringing up the Widowmaker, which is a new fresh I guess breath for Revival.
Yep, and the moment you see a pig, maybe there are some angles, not too many on Midtown actually. As you can see from the screen, they're all kind of hiding in that small room, but just have to put yourself out there.
Kilo taking care of Yam. This kind of ruins Revival's game plan, because what I read from Revival here is that, okay, they understand that XERO wants to outrange them, so they wanted to match that poke with the Widowmaker and maybe get that first pick, because yes, the Sojourn does have also a one-shot headshot potential, but the Sojourn requires to stack energy for that, but the Widowmaker with that charged scope shot can just do that. However, Yam just felt like, okay, I'm just not going to play the Widowmaker anymore. I'm going to match the Sojourn, and it's going to be once again the Orisa composition versus Revival! No, excuse me, the Zarya composition.
Yeah, again taken down, but Pax javelin throw there. And that one hits hard as Yam. Okay, no more hero switches. And the moment I said that, Windy actually goes down on the side too. So better time for XERO to sustain off of the side street here. There's no other movement actually required.
So what's really kind of difficult for the side of Revival here, and if you kind of like say that, rephrase that, what XERO is doing really well here is that the game plan for Revival is that you want to send the Genji in, and then you want the Genji to, number 1, just wreak havoc, and number 2, get energy for Ruler so that Ruler does enough damage for attack to press S instead of W. But in this case, Kilo and Jehu is making picks happen so that even though if Ruler gets that energy, they're at a numbers disadvantage so that they can't press W.
Okay, this is a chance to attack. Eventually went down, but there are a lot of ultimates ready to go for XERO. Look at this, here we go.
Oh, what a nice shot from Kilo. Yes, so this was a glimpse of how Revival's game plan would have worked, right? Because Windy went in, they made a pick, and so that kind of made an opening for Revival to go in, but unfortunately Zero had DPS ultimates because they were winning the neutral fights. So, and Kilo with that beautiful shot on Windy.
Oh,
just
shot.
Dismantled the game plan of Revival.
Yeah, Revival still... They do have Graviton now, but only a minute left. They actually grab everyone and make it work. They will be shredded apart. Okay, now the Wooby comes saying, okay, Zarya should have ults. And 1-2 more chances for Revival.
Revival has a lot of ults incoming, so they should be able... Well, in
theory, yes.
In theory.
There's a Captain Sun early on. Crescent wants to stop everything from happening. Here's a side street.
I don't think there's enough follow
now
damage.
The army's coming with the ults. That's the first kill.
Is a first, and that is going to be Yam's overclock expended. However, Revival with only 20 seconds on the clock, they can't afford to spare ultimates here. They have to use them if they have to, but maybe do they?
Don't even have to. Morals ready to go. There's Kiriko first, but nothing else really required yet. Zero still just poking from the side.
So this is going to be point A taken from the side of Revival. Actually, really nice fight with the side of Revival because they did not have to use a lot of ultimates. I was thinking that they might have to use at least 3 or 4 ultimates because Zero was in such a good position, and that in the long run would be snowballing into a very difficult point B. But Revival, with only the Kitsune Rush and the Overclock used, they are actually in a position to win the next fight.
Hey, Unknown, I have to give it to Revival here. I think Zero, honestly, I think they're willing to lose that first point, but draw out as many ultimates as possible, and Revival didn't really fall for that. Only had to use what they required, only 2 out of 5. So
exactly.
I'm very happy about that fight, and here see Windy finally with that blade and the barrier spans. So 2 more off and an extra push.
The thing is, Revival still has that Graviton Surge, and if used correctly, yes, Zero do have a lot more ultimates incoming. They already have 2. They have the Terror Surge, they have the Duplicate, and they have the Overclock and the Amplification Matrix incoming. However, Graviton Surge has a lot of value based on how you can use it. So if Ruler actually managed to make a beautiful, beautiful Graviton Surge, they might just even win this fight as well.
And there's always the threat, the pressure that the opponent has that Graviton Surge, but it's never been used.
Oh, this is going to be a very, very high damage output. Zarya!
Where'd it go? It disappeared! It was used! Oh man, Ruler must have seen something else that we did not get to see on screen! And that's the entire team of Revival dead! Has to wait for the respawn. 35 seconds!
Well, I guess the bright side for Revival is that Zero had to use 3 ultimates for this. They had to use the Duplicate, they had to use the Overclock, they had to use the Terror Surge as well. So only the support ultimates online for the side of Zero. Yes, those are very powerful ultimates, but Revival also has the Kitsune Rush incoming, and with that, that's going to be the Amplification Matrix denied on the side of Zero.
Oh man, that is just PM. Revival. Can they actually... Okay. At least got to push a little bit farther. Kilo going down.
That's a good kill on Kilo, so that's a lot of damage taken away from Zero.
The response back from... Coming down, Jay actually on Tracer.
So Hyun's job is to survive until the cavalry comes. Also, that's up to Jaeho's shoulder as well. But Jisoo falls, and I think Zero may have bought enough time for the entire squad to come back. And that is going to be the end of Revival's attack.
Yeah, 111 meters for Revival. Not a terrible push, but you would love to have some more points of Midtown as just one's over the board for that meter mark. Now, time for Zero to push, as we've seen some great signs of Revival, so I was thinking that they would push.
Where did that Graviton Surge go?
Yes, so yeah, it's off of our screen, somewhere. This Ruler's fighting alone on the side.
Wow.
Don't know what happened.
Yeah, I think that fight was really... I don't know. I think Revival would have won that back. because if, like I said, G-Clev, if Ruler, that was a very close fight despite Ruler not using that Graviton Surge to great effect. So if that Graviton Surge actually worked, that might have been point B for Revival. And the difference between capping point B and not capping it on Midtown is really, really big.
Yeah, it's huge. You do want your payload to get onto that, the uphill, the drift. The drifting uphill that you always have trouble going up there. But not really getting to even see that point.
Okay, I've noticed that a lot of teams with the Ashe buffs use the Ashe, but I think the Sojourn is definitely the better pick here because the Sojourn, yes, the primary fire isn't that strong and it's also a projectile, so it's really difficult to track. But with the Ashe here, if Zero just gains a little bit more ground, that means less ground, more space for the Ashe, and I think just directly compared to the Sojourn, the Ashe needs a lot more space for that pick to be effective.
We'll see.
Just look at this.
Yeah, just Sojourn out playing. And do actually on the points already as Scorpion early on. As Killa finds another kill, headshot into Zarya. Ruler going down, and I think just 2 remaining for Revival now.
Do? Hello? Do? Okay. Thank you.
Attack.
Thank you. No, but I think it was a kind of somewhat of a nice shot from Yam.
That's almost a really nice pre-shot.
I don't think that's gonna. Yes, no. So that's not gonna be contested. Despite that.
Yeah, great shot, but still the point already given 5 and 20 left for Zero to push 111.
So 5 minutes on the time bank for Zero to push, and this is a huge time bank. And so Revival, they're swapping to the Sigma. Very interesting choice here. We've seen a little bit of the Sigma on point A on defense on the Apex side of things. However, Jew murdered Yam with the deflect there.
One of the best, it has to be, while playing Genji, one of the best feeling to have that moment. To have the deflect headshot with your correct aim at the right spot.
So very interesting choice of compositions here right now. So both teams are actually going with the poke composition with Zero with the Genji. So both teams have poke compositions and one flanker to harass this long-range snipers. And this, in Zero's case, this is going to be the Genji. And Revival's case, this is going to be the Tracer. Yes, the head scan sniper duels is going to be very pivotal. However, it is up to the flankers to make sure that their sniper wins. But Jew falling here means that Revival can have a little bit more pressure on Kilo. So Kilo can't afford to just free shoot here.
Yeah. Coming in on this map, doing a great job, especially on Widow as we come. There's a pulse. Okay, got one down. Killa does win that Widow duel once again. Attack. In the meantime, has been finding a lot of kills, just like map number 1.
Oh, that's a nice shot from Kilo. Yes. This is actually really, really dangerous for Revival here because this is a stagger kill. And
which means
Zero is approaching the box of victory.
Exactly.
In Revivals, this is going to be the box. Almost missing up the feed.
3 meters away.
Good Gravitic Flex, excuse me, but Jew with
done game.
Oh, this is going to be the end.
Yes. The reason why we have screen all the way inside is because the payload is already there.
So in the end, yes, I think this is the same with Busan. Yes, Revival is making, glimpses of brilliance here, but in the end, Zero is showing that why they are playing with the compositions of confidence, because they know that they're outclassing. They are able to outclass Revival, and they are doing it so.
Yeah, I do think Revival is actually doing a fantastic job of switching heroes and responding back. It's just the mechanical level is just there was some difference in between the teams and all the players in average, and that Revival just cannot match in terms of these headshots and the shots going in. And also that's exactly why Zero is just keeping some more distance and switching back to the heroes that they feel confident. With those type of team comp, and they are oftentimes coming up with a victory. And that, I think they still had about 4 minutes left when the payload reached the destination. XERO just winning this winning this series really hard so far. It's with a 2-0 score now.
So in the end, in summarizing, yeah, XERO is just proving why they are the better team and why they are the pre-match favorites. But for now, Revival, they still have one more chance, G-Cuff.
They do have one more chance, and before that, we'll take a short break. And when we come back, are we going to have a 3-0 victory or from XERO, or a comeback from Revival? See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone is having a good day watching Fall Series Korea, as we are having a lot of full blast, actually. First time for us to actually cast Korea here in Contenders. And man, these two teams, full of talents, certainly has different colors, different themes, and different point of what they want to achieve today.
Yeah.
Of course a win, but in terms of what they want to try in game, we could totally see the difference.
Yeah, so Revival clearly wants to stick with the Zarya Genji meta. Yes, they do make I think there was a point. Yes, they also tried the Sigma a little bit, but they predominantly wants to play the Zarya. And XERO is pretty much like, hey, we're playing the Orisa until it doesn't work, and then after that we'll think about it.
Oh well, it's never not really working, so I guess they can stay with it as long as they want to.
Yeah, so I think one of the key reasons is that Joe is doing so much work on Genji, Tracer, harassing the backline, sometimes even if on a sniper duel, harassing the other snipers, so that Kilo, who is a very good hit scan, was previously on the San Francisco Shock, like he was basically on Overwatch League level, can do what he wants to do and what he does best.
That's what we are oftentimes seeing, because we're having so much attention on to Kilo and Joe, the DPS lines. I'm almost feeling too sad about Attack was on tank and the two support, which does not really get to show much of a screen time on broadcast.
Truly the unsung hero, because yes, we do have to credit Attack, because usually it's really difficult to, as an Orisa, because usually the reason why the Zarya was considered meta was because after the Genji goes in and the Genji brings energy for the Zarya does generate enough pressure for the Orisa to fall back, and Orisa that's retreating, that's not pressing W, it's not really in a good position. It doesn't have much value, but Attack still manages to keep the value of Orisa up well enough for this composition to work. So credit to Attack, but again, sad, like I guess the sad reality is that the DPS players get all the flashy plays and get all the attention.
Yeah, I guess you're not totally sad, because you still show yourself on the kill feed if you have that many kills. But now here is Saravasa, map number 3, and Revival still keeping that Zarya Genji, okay? Still, I'm not 100% sold on it, but we'll see.
Well,
this Flashpoint,
like if you just look at the compositions here, I think the Revival actually has a little bit of an edge here, because XERO, yes, they want to outrange Revival, but at the same time, they don't have a lot of mobility. They don't have the Lucio, they don't have the Symmetra, which is usually used in Flashpoint maps. So Revival definitely has to use this extra mobility, extra maneuverability to their advantage.
Yeah, I was about to say, can Crescent keep himself alive? Yes, eventually you can with the pylon and the Vitality Field. And in the meantime, when you have that much attention drawn away to Yo, Revival's gonna strike.
So there was a trade kill on Hyun. However, it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, never mind. I was about to say XERO was having the better end of the fight, but Revival in the end is going to be the winner of the initial fight, and they were going to have that crucial initial percentage on this point.
Yep, just as Kiriko 2 double headshots in a row, helping the team a lot more, of course, when you have that much DPS poured out from the support line. I guess you don't really need the DPS to be on the side. XERO, I also thought XERO was actually going to win the first 3 fights, already on 55%.
Yes, because Revival didn't have Ruler. Ruler fell first in that fight, and they still won that fight. And Revival wants to keep the snowball going because they're using the Kitsune Rush.
Field gone. And the window up for Hyun. XERO keep this up.
I think I think Zero is has a little bit of dose of a overconfidence here because yes, this comp worked for the last 2 maps, but they definitely need a little bit of more mobility because Revival clearly, yes, they're going to lose this fight. However, Revival is showing, I guess, the peak performance of what they've been showing in the last 2 maps because they have that extra mobility, and it looks like it's Revival with that extra mobility is able to win fights against Zero.
Yeah, that's the type of rotation you do need to come up with as Ruler.
So that's the Terra Surge and
early barrier. Not going to spend more from Revival. Zero just going to take this amount of damage.
Revival's going to take this trade any time of the day because that was a Terra Surge and the Captive Sun used just answered by that sound barrier. And I don't think there's any time for Zero to recontest the first point. And even on the second point, I think Revival with not all 3, but 3 ultimates on the board and the 4th and the Kitsune Rush already coming back because Kitsune was used so early in the first point. And I think in order for Zero to win this, Kilo needs to use the overclock first and then make a pick. That is going to be the play. They know that Zero's win condition is Kilo. So yes, that is only a 1 kill play, but that is absolutely worth it because it is denying the win conditions of Zero. What a good play from Revival.
Crucial kill, strike back, attack actually getting a kill onto Yan. Very important as they finally do go for the open point. And Ruler still here without Fiesta, so lacking healing sustain from Revival. Can Zero keep this up?
Good Graviton Surge, and that is a very, very high energy Zarya there. A lot of damage, so Zero falling 1 by 1.
And after just keeping that up, kept the position. Zero. Yeah, they spent a lot of ults. Actually, did not even get the points. Revival should be very happy about this. Should be getting close to 40% when they come back.
Very expensive fights on both sides. Yes, Zero will be having that Captive Sun earlier, so they will be having 1 ultimate where Revival does not. But I think Revival, I think they can, if they can stall enough for that percentage to go up to 60 or 70, they can even just elect to give up that point. If that means they can have an ult advantage on the next fight. However, Fiesta falls first, so maybe Zero does not have to use that Captain Sun at all. This is a totally different story because now Revival has to be the one going to retake, and they're going to be at an ult disadvantage.
Yes, that is correct. As Jeu did come back with the Genji, no more Torbjorn. As we're talking flashpoints, and unless you have the world's strongest turret, even before the ults, and when your team does not have a Lucio, you're just lacking mobility, as Unknown is always highlighting on Flashpoint. Now Revival does have Lucio Genji, the comp that can potentially move very fast and dive into the team. Zero, 3 ultimates ready to go.
So Revival has to make a decision. They are approaching the Dragon Blade very quickly. Do they want to use this? Oh, Windy with that kill on Yun and Elect, and they actually do elect to use that Dragon Blade. Can they win the fight with this though? If they win, because this is going to be a very crucial win for Revival because Zero used all their ultimates on their toolbox.
Look at Ruler responding back. That was close, but still, when the 2 DPS from Zero, when they're alive, you still have to have some faith, some trust in the team. Two, the last one up here. Trying to buy time.
They want to contest this. What?
Really? Blake? Are you considering it? He's still alive. The pylon.
No, like yes, even if they win this fight, why, I don't understand why they wouldn't want to invest ultimates in a point that was already plus 90%. I think the Revival may have thought that they couldn't be able to contest the point. However, wow, that is.
Hey, it was only Genji for a brief moment. So maybe Revival thought they had the mobility to take that over. Sometimes you do want to be greedy and take the second point, because Zero, after changing that Torbjorn, it does seem like the fights are going towards their way.
Yeah, of course, there would have been reasoning for that, and I respect that. However, like in the end, this is gonna make the fight a little bit harder for Revival to take down. However, Kilo falls, and that was also a overclocking Sojourn. So okay, so they probably feel good about this because they probably would in a normal situation they would have probably wanted to use that sound barrier for winning that first fight, but they won that fight without using the sound barrier anyways. So maybe that's kind of like okay, they're back. I think they're back on track.
Okay, but we're still waiting for that blade. Down from Jude. It has been hold for a pretty long time now. Kiliu's low. Strikes back. Graviton really good on
Graviton
surge. But the rest of the team falls. Zero actually responds pretty well with the amount of damage that they pour out.
Yeah, so I think what was really important there was that Kilo taking down Yam before that Graviton surge was casted was really important because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was 3 members of Zero affected by that Graviton surge. And if Yam was there, that's the easiest headshot of your life. And so that means that fight would have probably gone to the side of Revival. But Revival's, I guess, most consistent source of damage was taken out before that. So in the end, if you just look at the results here, Revival just lost a fight and at the same time expending the Graviton surge.
It's actually one of the easier things when the enemy's attacking towards a target and you know that's happening for sure. Okay, that was denied there, but then some nicely focused by Revival. Had to use a few ultimates for that, but still great deny.
Oh, Windy taken down, and Jiu with that blade looking for a target, but is taken down by Ruler. So it looks like this is going to be Revival's point.
Yes, Doomfist was also changed.
That was for the sake of the touching, but
Kristen is technically there using the captain's okay. They're back with 99%. They want to turn it around, and they might just be able to do so. Just falling back with outburst just in
Windy
time.
wants this point so bad because they know if they lose this fight,
it's going with the building.
This point is going to the side of Zero, and the flip is there actually, and this means that it
can Ruler sustain. Has the Graviton surge, but no one to actually pair that up with. Had to use it, drop it down, and still Kilo was able to bring 2 before going down. This is an immense fight between the two, just coming for Brother.
Whoever wins this fight is going to be
way too many more for Zero.
It's going to be very, very ahead on whatever fights that's going to be next, because remember, both sides were very desperate for this point. They used ultimates all around. G-Club, how long this fight was? Just like
that was actually almost another point from Flashpoint.
Like the fact that Ruler used two Graviton surges just for this point.
Yeah, the moment that attack changed to Doomfist, I knew that Zero wanted to contest, but didn't actually know that they were going to turn it around and get the point. Revival, I'm pretty sure they were also surprised, have to use the Graviton surge with a lot of big key ultimates.
That was
now
a good setup
for
attack in Kilo.
Yes. This will be one of the points actually first kept from Zero on this Flashpoint.
I think Revival is... Things are not looking really good for Revival right now.
Do you actually think they should have just gave the last point up because it was just way too much contest?
Yes, but I think...
You had your 99% already.
Yes, but I think I still understand, like, unlike other fights, I understand Revival's, like, desperation to use those ultimates because they are... Oh, this is a positive for here. Let me talk about the previous fight a little bit more since we have the time. Because they were already invested. They already had their foot on the point. And they had to win. And that meant that they could have definitely... I mean, they... Even at the cost of investing more ultimates. Because if they lose, even without using that final Dragon Blade or the Graviton Surge, they're still at the back foot anyways because they already used a lot of resources for that overtime fight. And like, hey, you're on a 1 ult disadvantage or 2 or 3 ultimate disadvantage. I think it was worth a chance.
Yeah, I think it was totally worth it. And as a gamer, you always feel, and maybe not for each map, but at least within a match, there's always a point that you do think, okay, this has to be the point. This has to be the moment where we come up with a win, and this is going to be the turning point or a securing point. I think both teams felt that way at that point number 3 right there.
Good point.
And just had to press everything. That's the moment sometimes when both teams are feeling exactly the same. That's the gamer sense that I just love to see all
that's
the time.
point where you really want to all in. And yes, I don't want to kind of like lower expectations for the last point fight, but both of the teams probably thought that whoever takes this point takes this map. So that's why I think both teams did not hesitate in using all their resources. And let's just I think Revival. Usually when I see teams just use ultimates on a losing fight, I say, hey, you should have probably kept that ultimate. However, for this fight specifically, I think it wasn't really Revival's fault for pressing all those Q buttons, but it was just credit. Like XERO, like Revival made the right decision, XERO made the right decision, but XERO just fought better.
Yeah, even within that hectic moment, Kilo before going down, bringing 2 along with it. It's just amazing action. Okay, we're back. Just that slight connection issue, and with all of those ultimates, yeah, actually slightly more. Yeah, both played with these here.
So this is actually a replay.
Okay. I was about to say, oh, they all of a sudden have all the ultimates?
So I'm hearing from production that Jinsung is having connectivity issues, so it may be taking a little time for Jinsung to come back. And thank you production for that replay because, you know, chat doesn't have to watch our faces.
Yeah, that was a moment.
And appreciate the good gameplay over there.
Yeah, Captain Surge early on. You can trust an hero on this guy, especially on hit scan.
Oh, we're back.
Oh, man. Seeing some different angles from between the fights, and we do have to credit both teams. I think Revival, they already going back to the moment that we were talking about. I mean, they still, even there are moments in our games too. Well, you do realize even after dropping the big button, you will still come out very likely to lose. But still, you're looking for that small chance to maybe win this entire map because you pressed it. Because if you don't take the chance, you might never get one. So
yeah, and those are big ultimates that were used, like not just the Graviton Surge, but also the Dragon Blade, the Terra Surge, which is not. Yes, I don't want to say that a single ultimate is like more valuable than the other, but it definitely has a different impact. I'm hearing that we're going to unpause, so let me. Well, fortunately, we'll be able to get back in that game really soon. But just coming back to the game, I just really want to credit Attack here because Attack, formerly on Talent Esports, was almost a Sigma 1 trick. Now, well, not a Sigma 1 trick, but more predominantly a Sigma player. And seeing this player play the Doofus, play the Winston, play the Orisa is definitely adding a lot of value to XERO's gameplay here.
Yeah, certainly. Has to use the Kiriko ult. Spent for XERO, but Revival still has a long way to go collecting those numbers. Still off of the point now. 5% to go. You do have to come in eventually.
Revival, you have to touch because this is 99%. No, this is map point on match point.
Barrier will be there. Immediately spent. Oh, Jinsung was not caught in that barrier. With that melee just before that barrier hit.
They got to touch and they made them flip, but at what cost? At the cost of their lives. And they are one domino falls and everything falls after. And I don't think there's anyone to touch. And that is going to be, yes, we had a pause, but it is only delaying the inevitable. XERO wins 3-0 in a very convincing fashion. And what a game, G-Clef.
What a game. I actually liked that pause a little bit, so just because we could talk slightly more about the moment. But XERO certainly seemed to be the favorite of the match coming up before we started, and they indeed delivered. And the train and the amount of work they put into this match, I think they had specific work they wanted to accomplish. And I think they did. It wasn't totally perfect. It wasn't a perfect score, with a 3-0 if you look in-game. But still, I think they had what they wanted accomplished out of this match.
Exactly. They had a composition. They had several composition actually. But again, XERO had a very clear game plan in mind, despite playing very different versions of compositions. And I think they achieved what they wanted to do today, and I think teams should be very, very careful of how they approach XERO right now, because they know that they have good talent. Kilo, I can't phrase this guy enough. Kilo, a very dominant hit scan player. Jeu, yes, he was good, but he's even better coming into the fall series here. Attack, a very evolved form of previously, on previous iterations of XERO and also different rosters, and even the backline looks very decent. So if XERO thinks that they're a better team than you, then they will be using this composition again. And it looks like, yes, Revival did their best, but this concept of this game plan doesn't look like it's going to be easily taken advantage of.
I think today's was a really big challenge for Revival to actually come up with an entire win from the series with the big focus with Genji Zarya. Of course, it is big right now in the meta, and it can be strong, but not against a team that you are fighting uphill. So I think there were some moments like on the other side that you can feel, but still a lot of work to be done from the team of Revival. Let's see how they can actually, if they can turn it around and stay within the top 3 from Group A, that will be the big news. But still, XERO seems to be on top right now.
Yeah.
So that should put them with a +5 now, I think, in the second place, right below Poker Face.
Yeah, we forgot to mention, well, not forgot, but there is the player of the match, Jeu here. Like, yes, like you mentioned, G-Clef, Genji is a very integral part of whatever composition you play in this meta specifically.
He's never out. He's always
exactly.
He's always
and
there.
Jeu, not only phenomenal performance on the Genji today, but also on the Tracer. Yes, Tracer, unlike the previous meta where they were using double flankers, but Tracer in this meta is doing the same job as the Genji and as what the Genji does, but with less support and less resources used from the team. So I think Jeu in this meta is doing a phenomenal job and well-deserved player of the match.
Yeah, sometimes the meta works around exactly what you had before, but when it doesn't, you do have to follow and grab those heroes as soon as possible. And certainly it does look like XERO is having a good time. Maybe it'll take some more time for Revival, but let's see, as we still have to have one more week and a lot more matches for these teams to play, as we will now move from Group A to Group B real soon. We do have 4 more teams coming up today. Man, Korea seems to be kicking some interesting techs as we came into a new meta with the Zarya patch. Having a lot of fun already.
Yeah, so usually when a new patch drops, it's like the most boring patch is where like both teams are just mirroring everyone, right? But right now it's more of a little bit of a rock paper scissors meta, especially around the tanks. And this is really fun because a lot of the teams have different reads and different styles of play, and this is so entertaining to watch.
Yeah, exactly. A lot more entertainment coming up next as we have it right there. SPG versus JNGK will be the next match. Guys, don't go anywhere. We will be right back with more Fall Series Korea.